Hello and welcome to the Awaken Feminine podcast. I'm your host, Kaki Lee, a mindset coach and healer who's on a mission to share the love and wisdom of inspiring women from around the world who have gone through adversity and turned their pain into purpose. Today, I'm excited to be interviewing fellow Aussie and mindset coach Elaine Leek, who I know has so much love and wisdom to share with us. Do I have you there, Elaine?
You do, Kaki. Hi.
Hi, welcome, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. Can you start off with telling us a little bit more about you, what you do, and where you're joining me from?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me. It's so good to be here. So basically, quite simply, what I do is, as you mentioned, I'm a mindset coach and I essentially help busy women get their shit together and manage stress for good.
Yeah.
So, as you said, fellow Aussie. So it's always lovely to hear a Aussie accent in the morning. I'm calling in from Canada. So it's, anytime I hear another Aussie accent, it's like, yes, there's a little piece of home.
I know how you feel. I worked over in England for a year a long time ago, and whenever I rang home, I was like, oh, it sounds so familiar, and it's such a
Oh,
nice
yeah.
feeling. Yeah.
It's like that feeling when you get on, like, maybe not now, but you get on a plane and the captain's Australian. You're like, yes. I don't know what that is, but it's just that little piece of home. Like
Yeah.
you're already there without even arriving yet.
Yeah, it's nice. So Elaine and I met via an online course, and I remember like the first time I watched one of the videos she posted in the group, and I went, I love her so much already, and I'm so blessed that we're now in this powerful and supportive like women's coach mastermind together. So yeah, so
Oh
much
yeah.
love.
Awesome. Right back at you. I like same thing with one of your videos. I just remember watching it, laughing and being like, yes, these are my people. She's one of my people.
I love it. Cool. Well, let's get started because I'm sure everyone wants to find out more about you and your journey. So can you start off with sharing with us what you were doing before you became a coach and your journey to how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, it's been a long one, I think. But before coaching, I was working in medical devices as a sales rep, basically in orthopedics, so helping with like knee and hip reconstructions and sports medicine, stuff like that. And before that, I was working as a registered nurse in theatre, as we would say at home, but in the OR. And I mean, I loved nursing. It was awesome. That was the instrument side of things. It was really cool, and that's what led me into being a rep. And then moving to Canada essentially is what helped me, I don't know, take the leap or find my calling, I suppose, into coaching. So it's been a winding journey to get to coaching, but I finally got here.
Yeah. So what was the catalyst that sparked you into going into coaching?
So if I think about it, like I came to Canada and I was still in medical devices, and I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. I hadn't been feeling it for a while. I was feeling really disconnected and also like being far away from home. Like I felt disconnected from the life that I was hoping to have when I got here. And things just weren't as rainbows and unicorns as I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
And so it was evident that the job for me wasn't right, and it hadn't been right for a while. And it was like, okay, now's my time. Now's my opportunity. I'm starting new. This is it. What do I want to do with my life? And actually saw a coach myself when I got here. I was reading her book I picked it up in Adelaide Airport actually. And by the time I got to the back of it, I was like, oh, it would be really great to work with her. And thinking, it wouldn't really be an opportunity. And she lived in Toronto. And so I looked her up, started working with her. And she had a huge impact on me. Her business is called Careergasm. So like, how could you not like have success with that? Sarah Vermunt is her name. And she basically helped me figure out what it is that I wanted to be doing, and that being coaching. And when I got to that point, I was like, oh yeah, of course that's it. It
Yeah.
was just like so many light bulbs were going off at the same time. It was really bright. It was great.
Yeah, I love that. So it was kind of like you were meant to read that book. It's just kind
Oh
of
yeah.
led you to
Yeah.
the coach, and then to now your calling as being a mindset coach. That is so awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely. It's funny
Yeah,
how things just sort of like line up like that and you don't even realize.
yeah. So leading down this path, did you have an aha moment or a spiritual awakening that really got, I mean, during your coaching, something must have shifted for you to go, oh, I'm going to be a coach. So what was that, just where you went, that's what I want to do? Why didn't I think of that earlier?
Yeah, I think, the things that led up to that point were, challenging, and all of those experiences I had to have so that I could have that light bulb moment and actually hear it or see it, or however you want to envision that.
Yeah.
So like changing careers was a big thing, but in terms of like changing from a nurse to a medical sales rep, that being the first thing, and sort of trying dipping my toes in the water of something different, but not completely different from nursing. Like I was still connected to the work that I was doing. So when I switched from medical devices to coaching, like when I was here, it was like, okay, so what, I was doing a lot of reflection, like what was it that got me to this point? And back in Adelaide, like I was in a long-term relationship, and when I left that, I was owning my mistakes and walking away from things and people that were no longer serving me, or I was no longer serving them, and it was just not right anymore. And I think that plus moving cities. So I was living in Adelaide, and then I moved to Melbourne, and I didn't have any friends there, and like my brother actually had just moved to sort of close in Melbourne, and I was like, okay, I could do this. It's not like I'm not completely on my own, but I also am. So starting out on my own and like living by myself, like that, I had never done that. I'd always like had a house share, or living with a partner or something. So that was huge for me. And then moving countries, like moving to Canada and moving like for love for a boy, and like starting over again and believing in all that and taking chances, and believing that, like, as cheesy as it sounds, like in love and happiness, like it's cheesy, but it's like, it's true. So all of those things led me to being like, that was like my, I didn't have just one aha moment. I had lots of little ones that built up to when I was, talking with this coach and getting to the point of like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to help other women. Oh, okay, right. Those little dim light bulbs that I didn't see before, there they all are.
Yeah. So it's like connecting the dots to everything that's
Yeah.
happened. Yeah. I love
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times when you're in the moment of why is this happening now? And it's only when you look back that you go, oh, right, that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All those things had to happen so that this one thing could happen now.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it when it all just, fits together and the right outcome comes out. So I love that.
Yeah. It's like finding that, lost puzzle piece that like fell under the couch or something. Like,
Yeah,
there it is.
yeah. Just needed that one piece. Where has it
Yeah.
gone?
Has it gone? Who stole it?
Yeah. Uh, so having gone through everything that you've gone through, what is your personal mission? What are you here on this earth to do?
I love that. And honestly, it's to help other women basically stand in their own self-worth, and their confidence, and like help them handle their shit, like whatever that might be, however that might come up for them, and just live the life that they dream and hope for. Like that sounds a little bit sort of woo woo, but it's like that's it. That's what it comes down to. And we all, I think, want that,
Yes.
and don't necessarily admit it. So it's, my mission is basically to support and impact those women, like no matter where you are in the world.
Yeah, definitely. And I know there's a lot of women, myself included, that like to get their shit together. So yeah, totally. I love that because I think as women, we're conditioned, well, as a society, we get conditioned to not ask for help. and for you
Mm.
to be able to provide that help for people, for women especially, that's really
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, we're the carers, right?
Yeah.
Not the ones that get the help. So yeah, there needs to be more conversation around that, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And knowing that asking for help doesn't show that you're weak, it actually
Yeah.
shows that you're brave and courageous
Yeah, and
to
it's
take
actually a
that step.
strength.
Yeah,
Yeah. The
definitely.
strength to
Vulnerability.
own that you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, love it. So, Elaine, let's get even more deep and personal. So, is there a particular experience you've been through where you found the most challenging, but actually led to your biggest breakthrough?
I think it would have to be like being in my first job in Canada and just not jiving with it, really just being quite unhappy. I was in it for a couple of months only, but the impact that it had on me emotionally was like nothing else. It was that, like, being in a job that I didn't like, as combined with being away from home and being really homesick. Like, I didn't expect to feel the impact of that so strongly so early.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that probably was the biggest challenge for me right before I got into coaching,
Hmm.
which essentially led me into coaching. Like I mentioned, going to see a coach myself, and having her help me find the answers to what it is that I was looking for. And yeah, to get through that and get to all those little light bulbs together it was epic for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what do you believe is the greatest lesson you've learned so far in your life?
Just one.
Oh, you can give me a couple, but just the bigger ones.
Yeah, no, I think they all sort of fall under the same sort of umbrella of, like, everything that you dream of or that you hope for, you deserve it, right? So you can actually have it. You don't have to be in this, like, comfortable confusion. You don't have to settle. You're allowed to want more. And I don't mean that on a, like, I want 5 cars and I want this. I mean, sure, you can want that, that's fine, but I mean in the sense of, like, what your soul wants. If you want more, like, and you're lost and you're stuck and confused, all of that, that's for a reason. That your body or your mind is trying to tell you that you deserve more. You just have to get to it. And it's about, yeah, finding those connecting dots, as you say.
Yeah, love that. So, having gone through the experiences that you've gone through, what were some of the tools or teachers you touched on, which your coach and reading and things like that, but were there some other tools or teachers that were really helpful in your healing process?
Well, she obviously, Sarah Vermont, she was huge for me.
Hmm.
Um, I think also getting into, like, mindfulness and meditation. I had a yoga teacher back in Adelaide, and I interviewed her actually a couple of weeks ago, and she's over in Spain at the moment, Monique Levington, and she had such a profound impact on me. Like, when I don't know if you're into yoga, Kaki, but
Yeah, I am.
um, yeah, like, you can go to different classes and have different teachers, and some of them you just really connect with, and others you're like, okay, yeah, downward dog, right, cool. Don't really have that same experience.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, with Monique, I just, like, completely vibed with her, and her classes were amazing, and her guided meditation, all of that. I went on, like, a retreat to Bali with her,
Oh, wow.
a big group of us, a yoga retreat, and that was huge for me. So she was another big player in my journey, I think, as well.
Yeah, awesome. So I love reading. So I'm not sure like how much you love reading, but I think you probably do. But is there a particular book or even a couple of books that really changed your life?
Yeah, I've got a couple, but if I had to pick just two, I think the 5 Second Rule by Mel Robbins.
Yep.
I really love that book. Like, even for the point of, I don't know, have you read it,
I
Kaki?
haven't read it, but I've watched a video clip of her talking about the 5 second rule.
Yeah.
It's on
Oh my
my
God.
to read list. I've got a long list.
Oh, I tell you what, mine's longer than my arm. It's ridiculous. um, so I listened to the audiobook version of that, and it was like, you know, while I was driving to work or whatever, and it was really good to the point of like, I was having mornings where I was needing to get up really early for work. This is back when I was in Melbourne, and I was just like, oh, just dragging myself out of bed, like, oh, setting the alarm like 3-4 times. And yeah, like part of the 5-second rule is, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just get up and get going and do it. And she had so many like pearls of wisdom in there that just like shifted so much for me. So I really loved that. And also Danielle Laporte, the Desire Map. So when I was trying to figure out what I was doing with like changing careers, my coach actually put me onto this book, and it made it made such a difference for me. Like looking at your life as not what you want to do, but how do you want to feel. That was epic. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to feel good with what you do. I think a lot of us chase the external or what looks good to other people to
Mm-hmm.
pursue,
Yeah.
right? Rather than what feels good if I do what I want
Yeah.
to do. Yeah. So,
Absolutely. It's that like, oh, my life is successful on paper, but I feel so disconnected from it. Like
yeah.
that's exactly where I was. And so, turning it on its head, like, how do I want to feel? Not necessarily what do I want to do. Yeah, that was it. It was a really cool way to look at something that I'd been thinking about for such a long time.
Yeah. Love that. And
Mhm.
it's like what you said about the soul being soul aligned as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you could time travel, Elaine, to a younger version of yourself, what advice would you like to give yourself?
That's not hair related.
That's not hair related.
Or
you
fashion
can you
related.
can chuck the hair related one in as well if you like, but
um, I think it would be along the lines of like telling her to keep hold of that wild spirit and don't let anyone or anything dim your light. I think that's something that I continue to learn as I get older.
yeah,
And just to tell her you are magic. Like those 3 words are quite sort of like powerful to the soul. I find it's just, yeah, like you're magic. Like, yeah.
yeah, I love that. And the personal growth journey is continuous. It never
Yeah.
ends, right?
Yeah. Growth is a process.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I mean, if you wanted to end, you can end it, but to keep
Well,
up leveling and upgrading and getting better and better, then it's a continuous process. And you're always learning aspects of yourself, right? You might go, oh, I've worked through that. And then something pops up and you're like, all right, what was it? I need to look at it again. I'm missing
maybe I need to
something.
review this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And magic. I love that. It is so powerful knowing that you are magic. You can create what you want to create in your life. It's just
Yeah.
believing in yourself and then taking the action to do towards it. So yeah,
Yeah, 100%. We create our own realities, however that might look. So, yeah, just
yeah,
taking action, it's
yeah.
huge.
I love that.
Mhm.
So, Elaine, there's a lot of people right now with the craziness in the world that's happening.
Yeah.
Lots of people navigating change, and a lot of people actually waking up to going, oh, this is not the life I've wanted, and actually having that time to actually reflect. So, what advice or recommendations would you have to help them get rid of any limiting beliefs or any fears that are holding them back from actually taking that step and going forward into something that they want to do that is so aligned?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like just building on the fact that we were just saying we create our own realities. So there's this great quote. I think it's Henry Ford. I think whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's so true because, again, with the mindset, right? You're the only one that holds yourself back or stops yourself. And if your fear is holding you back, you have to sort of start from the beginning and figure out why. you have to, do the hard, the ugly, the messy, icky, oh, I don't want to do this kind of work to change that limiting belief. Like, you have to own it. You have to dig in. You've got to really, dig in deep to those fears, because you have to understand the why, right? If you don't understand the why, then you won't understand how you got to that belief in the first place, and you can't take it apart.
Yeah.
So, before you build that new belief, you have to understand where the old one came from. And then, it's a matter of changing that into a more positive belief, so that you can, grow and move forward. So I don't know, I guess my advice is basically just take the time and do the work. Like, it's hard, it's ugly, it's messy, but it is worth it.
Yeah. And a lot of times when you start on your journey, it feels quite depressing, I guess, because you're digging everything up to find what's actually holding you back. So
And
as you said, it's messy and
like, it's almost like cleaning out the cobwebs and digging under the like lifting up a rug that hasn't been lifted for like years. You don't know what's under there, but you have to sweep it out, or whatever. You got to get in.
And like, when you're sweeping cobwebs, once they're gone, you feel so much better, right?
Absolutely. The air quality is better as well, right? The dust is gone. And
So I mean, it's the same as cleaning your house inside, which so
spring cleaning, right?
Pardon?
Spring cleaning.
Yes, that definitely. And it's a continuous process of cleaning what's on the inside, so your outer world reflects more your inner world, so that if your inner world is great, and it shines on the outside as well.
Absolutely.
So let's take a little bit of a turn. I am all about self-love, because that was one of the biggest things on my own journey. I did not love myself. All the negative self-talk, all those kind of things, I did all that. And
I did my cleaning.
And sometimes it still comes up, but it's having that awareness, right, to go, oh, all right, shut up, and replace those.
That is. That's you.
Instead of letting them continue. But for yourself, as a busy entrepreneur, what are your top 3 things that you love to do to make sure you just give yourself that self-love?
An obvious one is having a bubble bath. Like, this is such a luxury, I find, that we don't take advantage of as women. So we've just moved house, and I now have a bath that I can actually fit in instead of it feeling like a foot spa or something. So I've turned it into a Sunday night ritual, as a bath every Sunday night with the essential oils and the candles, and maybe Netflix, just depends what kind of zone I'm in. But I love just like zoning out and just being with myself, like being with my thoughts. So maybe not Netflix, but that's one of my little things. And also, like, this is a weird one, but I love, there's a proper name for it, but sometimes I love just lying on the floor, my legs up the wall, and a pillow under my head, and some nice music playing, and maybe some essential oils. Again, I love essential oils. And just having 15 minutes, 20 minutes just to sort of rebalance. And I suffer from migraines a little bit, so that helps with that. That's where I learned it, but I don't do it for migraines anymore. I just do it for me, just whenever I need a little sort of reset, just lie down, legs out the wall, just chill out for a minute.
I've heard of that as well, but I don't know what the name of it is either.
I should know it, like putting myself to shame, but there is a proper name. But I find that really helpful. And then my last one would be anything to do with water, but basically the ocean, being by the ocean, watching the waves crashing in, or like the water flowing out. I love that. I miss that about home. That's a big thing for me.
We have nice beaches in Australia.
I cannot beat them. I tell you what, like a beach here, no.
And being a Perth girl, I have to say Perth beaches are the best, but I know
they are beautiful.
beg to differ, but Perth beaches
So
are just so beautiful.
yeah, they are beautiful. I do like the Perth beaches. Melbourne, not so much.
Yeah.
So Melbourne, Adelaide have some really amazing beaches, but I haven't
Okay.
really go at heart.
Cool.
So
I have to check them out one day.
yeah, absolutely.
Uh, you're such a beautiful light in this world. But before we wrap up, I just want you to share with us what is currently setting your soul on fire.
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I think it would have to be just working with so many different and inspiring women. Like you mentioned, our mindset mastermind group,
Yeah.
and I love being a part of that group with you and all the amazing women that are in it. It's just so, like, every day I'm inspired by each and every one of you. So it's awesome. I love being a part of that. But also, like, my clients, like, I have to say, seeing the transformations in them week by week by week, that just lights me up like crazy. I love it.
It's so fulfilling when you can help people and see the transformation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like nothing else I've ever experienced.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Yeah,
And,
it's awesome.
ditto, I'm always so inspired by everyone in our group. It's such a
Uh,
beautiful group. So,
yeah,
yeah,
we're
very,
pretty lucky.
yeah, very grateful.
Yeah.
So, Elaine, I've loved our conversation today. Thank you so much for sharing your love and wisdom with us. And if people want to find out more about you and how they can work with you, where should they go?
Yeah, so I'm over on Instagram, so you can find me at Elaine Leek _coach, and that's Leek LEEK, like the veggie, not the dripping tap, people. So, yeah, Elaine Leek _coach, and yeah, you can find me there. Just shoot me a DM.
Awesome. I'll have all your details and any recommended resource available in the show notes so people can reach out to you.
Awesome. Thank you so
Awesome.
much,
Thank you
Kathy. This
so
has been
much. And until next time, I love you. I believe in you, and you are worth taking that first step to the life of your dreams.